Hey guys, my name is David Lindberg, and today I am very excited to show you how to use my new product called Paerticles. And it's a package of 4K stock footage with some really high quality particles. And I really think you can use this product in every single project actually. Because if you've seen my work before, you have also seen that I use these kind of particles in like every project. And I don't know why this increases the cinematic look by so much, but I think it's something about that it adds some movements and some dynamic into the scene. Even if it's just like a basic scene when someone speaks to another or something, just by having particles in the background or in the foreground, just increases the production value, I think. And for example, if you've seen Zack Snyder, which is a great director from Hollywood, if you've seen some of his latest films like Watchmen or 300, he didn't direct 300, but it was the screenwriter. So you can see that he actually uses particles in almost every scene. Just have to, it's kind of like small dust particles floating around, and I really think that increases the feeling in the shot by a lot. So I really think you should consider using this product because it's really easy to use and just in a few simple clicks, actually it kind of like 2 clicks, you already have those kind of particles floating around. And today I'm going to show you how really simple it is to use this product, but also how you can go even further in After Effects to do some a little bit more advanced things to make it look maybe even better. So I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible so you don't have to sit here all day. And I'm going to jump into Premiere. You can do this in Final Cut if you want to, but I think Premiere is better, so I'm going to go with Premiere for now. And I'm going to start with the first scene here, which is from, I just did some basic color correction to make it look a little bit more cinematic, but I want to increase the cinematic feeling, so I want to add some particles as well. But this is a footage from Joe Di Benedetto. I don't know how to pronounce his surname right, so I hope you forgive me, Joe. But thank you for letting me use your footage. He's a DP and a great, he's a director and a great friend of mine. So huge thanks for letting me use this beautiful footage. And I want to add particles falling from the sky here. So I want to open up my particle folder here. I'm going to go into product and falling snow. And I am going to choose amount 2 speed 3. You have to choose whatever you think will work in your scene here. And I'm going to create a new folder called Particles to keep this organized. I'm going to put this on top of the layer here and choose screen. And just like that you have really high quality looking particles. And I already think this looks really good, so I really don't think you have to do anything further in this one. But we want to have the particles more shown in the bright areas here. We want them to kind of disappear when it comes into dark areas. So we want to do that in After Effects later. Also what we can do is, because this is in 4K, which is 4 times bigger than this 1080p footage, we want to, or we can, you don't have to, but in this case I think you can, it will look better if you decrease the size, because you can decrease the size up to 50. And in this case it really makes a difference, because this will result in more particles as well as smaller particles. And because this is a pretty wide shot, I really think smaller particles would be a little bit more realistic. So I think it looks really good. But we want to do some changes here in After Effects, but first we're going to look at this third shot here. I did some basic color correction here as well, just to make it look a little bit better. And this is a footage from Ben Jacks, which is a great friend of mine as well, and the DP and a director. And he actually shot this footage, so huge credits for that. It's really beautiful. As you can see, it's kind of windy, and her hair is flying around here. So I think just by having some really small particles flying as well will increase the cinematic look in this one. So I'm gonna open up the folder here, and choose pollen in wind. And pollen in wind is basically like small particles flying around, so you can use this in a lot of different ways, and I think this will work really good for now. I'm gonna choose amount 1, speed 3, and drag this on top of the layer, and choose screen. And as you can see, I think it already looks really good, especially in this area here. You can see the particles flying around. It's not so many particles, but I don't think you should have many particles in this situation either. So we want to do some things here, because we used Ben used a lens distortion effect here, so we have some blurry things going on here. So we don't want the particles to be as sharp or as visible in this area, so we want to do some masking in After Effects. But we have this third shot here we want to look at, and this already looks really good, I think, but we want to add some floating dust in the area here, so we want to go into floating dust here and choose just one of these versions here, and we want to take a look here. This is a little bit more problematic, because this scene has a lot of camera movements, so it doesn't actually look like the particles are in the scene, so we want to do some tracking in After Effects. So we want to jump into After Effects now, and here we want to do a new folder called Particles. We want to add the particles we've used in Premiere. This one, I think we used this one. So we are going to start with this footage, drag this to a new comp, and we want to make the comp widescreen because we don't want the black bars here. I'm going to go into composition settings and choose 808 in this case. And we want to drag the falling snow on top of the layer, choose screen, press S to bring up the scale and set this to 50. And now we want to make the particles more visible in these bright areas here, and we don't want them to be as visible here. So we want to duplicate this layer here and choose this, drag this on top of the layer here, and we want to solo this. And actually we want to use the tint effect, because what we want to do is having this layer as a luma key. So you want to, where it's completely white in this scene, you want the particles to be visible at 100%, and where it's black it's not going to be visible at all. So just by adding a tint effect, it really helps me to see what's white and what's black, but you don't have to use the tint effect. I'm gonna add a curves effect to have control over the contrast, and I'm gonna increase the whites here and just bring back the shadows, and then we can just choose Luma Matte, and let's take a look. So now this looks really good, and I think it looks really realistic and natural, and as you can see the particles are disappearing when they are in this area here, and also she's really black here, so that means the particles looks like they're actually behind her, which is great. You can always do you can add a lot of different kind of particles in this one, so if you want to have maybe a little bit more like windy particles, you can just go into project and the folder here and choose maybe, for example, this one, just to make it more extreme. And you can add this on top of this one, duplicate the Luma key you did, and choose Luma Matte, and choose screen, and maybe set this to 60 something, and take a look. So now we have two different kind of particles here, and it looks kind of weird because it's not supposed to be that stormy. As you can see, her hair is not flying around like crazy, so you have to kind of see what actually fits in your scene. But you can add as many as you want. So, okay, we are gonna go into the next shot here, this one, and drag this to new comp. I'm gonna trim this a little bit, like that. I'm gonna choose composition settings and 808, and I'm gonna drag the pollen wind, choose screen, and we want them to be less visible and more blurry in this area here, so we want to make a mask. Like that, and we want to press MM to bring up the settings of the mask, choose subtract, and increase the feather here, so I have a nice feather this edge here. And we want to, so now the particles are only visible in this area here. So we want to duplicate this one and choose MM and choose this to add, and we want to add some fast blur. Choose maybe something like 6. This depends on how your scene looks like. And as you can see now, if I turn this on and off, you can see the particles looks a little bit more better, and you can press T to bring up the opacity and change this to maybe 70, so now it's not that bright. So that looks really good, so let's take a look at this one. Okay, so now it looks really good, I think, and I know there are some camera movements in this shot as well, but somehow it doesn't look bad at all, so I wouldn't spend any time on doing some tracking in this one. You can do, of course, you have some really nice spots here you can do some tracking on this one, so you can do that, but I wouldn't spend any time on doing that in this scene. So we are gonna jump into this shot here, and yeah, in this shot we are gonna do some tracking to make it look like the particles are actually in the scene. So we want to add a floating dust here, choose screen, and maybe turn this to like 70. And we want to do some tracking now, so we want to choose the layer and choose window tracker. I already has this enabled, but if you don't, it will look like this, and you will have to choose the tracker and choose track motion, and find an area where it's kind of texturized so that you can get a good track like that maybe. And we're going to analyze forward. So now I have some tracking here, but because I started in the middle, or I started about here, we don't have any tracking here, so I'm gonna just stand here and go backwards. Just like that, we have our tracking data. So I want to go into layer, new, and null object. I'm going to edit target, choose null one, OK, apply, and X and Y. So now we have all the tracking data in this null, which is great. So I want to pick with this floating dust layer to the null one, and we're gonna enable this one and disable, sorry. I'm gonna take a look at this one. So now the particles doesn't look like they are following along with the movement, so now it actually looks like they are in the scene. So that's really good, and it looks great, I think. What you can do, you can always change your floating dust version to some other here, but yeah, you can just try and see what works best for you. So thank you for watching, and if you have any questions, you can always email me, but it's more likely that I will get time to answer if you write to me on Facebook, or even more likely if you write to my group called Independent Visual Designers, because then more people will be able to see my answer, and I don't have to answer the same question over and over. So that's really good if you can use the group to ask me questions, but you can always email me if you want to. So thank you for watching, and hope to hear from you, and let me know what you think of my product. Thank you.